Hi, I'm Lisa Bevere, and I am here on a very thundery, rainy, stormy day here in Colorado to talk to you about this very turbulent program, No Exits. You know, as I watched it, I couldn't help but notice what an amazing, intense opening. It opens up with somebody drawing blood, and you think it might be Christina, but you're not sure through the entire program. To be tested, you don't know if there's a crisis, you don't know if there's a life waiting for her, but all of a sudden throughout the whole program you begin to find out the fragility of life and the punctuating of life. As I watched this whole program, I just was stunned by the relationships and the importance of relationship, the dynamic of relationship completely just underscored by crisis. We see Dr. Shaw and Bobby. We see that they're at this place where they still have not opened up with each other, but in a moment of crisis, they say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to lay it all on the table. I'm going to go ahead and take this chance that telling the truth means that I'll be able to move forward. And as I watched it, you know, I just can't help but think about the human factor, that anytime we are in crisis, it's really a catalyst for our relationships to be assessed. You know, in one way, we find Dr. Tom finds that this crisis moment means he does not want to move forward with any kind of relationship with Dr. Erin, even though she's nice, even though she's generous, even though she's ambitious, even though she seems to round out his professional life better. He decides he's not going to move forward with her. And I thought something he said was so key, because he couldn't really be himself with her. You know what? In a moment of crisis is usually when you find out what people are really made of. It's not who you are in the good times. It's actually who you are in the hard times that tells what your fiber is, tells what you're going to do under pressure. I don't like it that who I am in the kitchen is more likely who I am than who I am in the pulpit, but in those hot times, in those times of intensity, that is really when we find out what we're made of, and we can choose to respond to that time, to that gauge, and say, how do I want to rise above this? I also love the flip side of Dr. Erin and Dr. Tom's relationship was, in this moment of crisis, is when he actually found out that Christina was the one that he could be himself with, that he could build his life with. You know, I think it really underscores that every man and every woman needs to have somebody they can count on in a hard time, in a time of crisis, that can be there for them. It's not just about who you can be when everything's looking great, but who you can be and who you can be with when there is hardship and you need to make hard decisions in a time period where there's a lot at risk. We find a young girl that is electrocuted, the nurse Candy. She's electrocuted, and there's a life growing within her. And everything becomes about the urgency of not only protecting her, but protecting that life. At the end of this evacuation, at the end of all this crisis, there's this adorable older couple, a little Jewish couple, who have been together for decades. And you see them embrace. They say, hey, you know what, we're committed to each other. They had this habit of bickering back and forth, but at the end of the day, they said, man, we realize what we have. When you have decades together with somebody, then you know you've got something worth keeping. And at the end of this program, I think that both Christina and Tom realized that they had something worth building together. And when Tom says this to Christina, I can only be myself with you, then Christina declares that she is pregnant. And there is that promise of building a life together and bringing forth a life. Again, I wanted to kind of take this opportunity and say, you know what, who you are in the hard times is who you are. And who you can surround yourself with needs to be people that know how to respond in a loving and yet proactive response in hard times. And so that would be my takeaway from this about relationships being ultimately the most important thing in our lives and the most important things to invest our lives in, and being resourceful to do whatever needs to be done to bring solution to the problems. You know, one of the inspectors is going to close down the hospital while the other inspector says, hey, I can't close down this building or this establishment because of the people that are in it. They're so valuable. They're so resourceful. They're willing to do whatever they need to do to get the job done. And you know what? That makes me want to be that kind of person. There's a lot of people saying, I don't know what I think about the church. Well, let's fill the church, and let's fill our family, and let's fill our community with the kind of people that will do whatever needs to be done so that people can say, hey, we're passing on you this time. You need to go forward and build that future. All right, I hope this has been a help to you. Hope this inspired you on some level. It's been a privilege and honor. I'm Lisa Bevere.